Hi everyone, this is Kirk from Cabinet Creations. I'm an owner of Cabinet Creations. In this video, we're going to talk about just some, not all. We couldn't do all, it'd be too long of a video, but we use the term some of the gotchas. We see this all day, every day, obviously, and people come in with quotes from all sorts of places, and they think they're sort of looking at a quote that says this, and when we sort of look at it, we go, well, no, it really says this. And so what are these gotchas? What are the things where our industry, and I don't think maliciously, but our industry sort of leaves some of the details out, or you think you're getting something that's really pretty and you're getting something that's really basic. So first and foremost, most cabinetry does not come with rollouts. I mean, I don't think any cabinetry as a standard comes with rollouts. So when you see that big pantry in your design, you need to confirm that it has rollouts, because most cabinetry doesn't have rollouts. Half-depth shelves. So most cabinetry, when you open it, if it's a 24-inch deep cabinet, standard is only going to come with like a 12-inch deep shelf, which, by the way, has its value. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but generally is not going to come with a 24-inch deep shelf. Full extensions on drawer guides, or even 7/8 extension on drawer guides. So when you open up a drawer, and you can only see like half of the drawer, that's interestingly a 3/4 extension. And to get into the 7/8 or the full extension is quite a bit of money. So what happens is you pull that drawer open the first time and you only see half of your drawer box and half of your utensils inside of the drawer. That's a real common one that companies or our industry sort of leaves off. Corner cabinets are generally empty. So when you think, oh, I'm going to put a blind corner over there, or you're looking at a corner and you have cabinets over there, a lot of times they're empty, meaning it's just barren space. So cabinetry doesn't just standard come with a lazy Susan, or they have all sorts of ways to deal with corners now, but it's not standard that there's something in that. And to put something in that actually costs quite a bit of money. So that's another gotcha where you're like, oh, this isn't the cabinetry I thought I was getting or I wanted. You see these very beautiful 5-piece drawer fronts. So if you look at a drawer front, sometimes they're a slab and they're just flat, or sometimes it's literally got an outline and a recess in the middle. Well, that beautiful or sort of higher end looking drawer front is called a 5-piece drawer front. Those are substantially more money. So that's some cabinetry stuff. I mean, and we could go on about cabinetry, to be quite honest. And the point of the video isn't to name every single one. It's to say, hey, you better pay attention, because there's so many details and a lot of gotchas that you need to be prepared for. But that's sort of cabinetry. So when we think about labor, I think the most important thing is scope of work, is having a good scope of work, having a scope of work that you think is complete. Because what happens is when the remodeler or the installer starts on that project, they got you. I mean, right? That's a huge gotcha, and you better trust them, because you're not going to catch every detail, and you really want to make sure up front you get as much in that scope of work as possible. And that includes, what are you doing, right? What is to be done, and often what is not to be done. So, if you were like, hey, we're thinking about removing that wall, and then you decided not to remove the wall, you would really like that proposal to say something like, proposal does not include removal of the wall on, whatever the right detail would be. But scope of work is a huge gotcha, because once you get in, you're sort of stuck. In the same sort of vein, or same sort of realm, is contingencies in the proposal. You want to see contingencies in the proposal. And that's often a sign of an installer who's done this thing before, and they've done it many times, and they know, hey, well, we removed that soffit. That should, in theory, go like this, and it should be smooth. So that's $1,000. I'm going to put $1,000 contingency, which is an additional amount, because I've taken out enough soffits to know sometimes you find cinder blocks in those soffits. That's a true story. We found cinder blocks in someone's soffit. And what happens is remodelers or people out providing proposals and quotes, they leave contingencies out because they don't want to drive up what the proposal amount is. So I have a $50,000 proposal, and I go, well, we should probably have $2,000 contingencies in there. That would make their proposal $52,000. They leave them out. They go, well, we'll deal with that whenever we see it. I don't know if that's unethical. I don't think that's the right word, but it does put strain on the whole project 6 weeks later when you find out, oh man, that soffit does have a bunch of plumbing and electrical in it. Something that's sort of right along with contingencies is allowances. So most proposals are going to include allowances. I've done videos on what that is, but what happens is if you put an allowance in there that's $300 for a faucet, I'm going to tell you, for a kitchen faucet for $300, you're not going to get a ton of options. Now, are there $300 faucets? Indeed, there's lots of $300 faucets. They're just generally they're not faucets people want when they just spent $50,000 remodeling their kitchen, right? That's the problem with $300 faucets. What happens is you generally want a $700 faucet. Well, again, to keep that proposal or that quote low, they leave the allowances low. As you take 10 allowances and you start to add $400 onto them, you've added $4,000 onto the proposal amount. Well, they want you to sign that proposal, so they give you the lowest number possible. And again, once you send the proposal, they got you. So, they don't want to let you out, and they want to get you to sign. So, so now you're looking at a $300 faucet going, I don't like any of those. Doesn't have the finish I want. Well, now it's an extra $400 or $500 to get the finish you want. So be careful on allowances and make sure the allowance amount in there is an appropriate amount for what you might select or the level of kitchen that you have. Another one that we see, heck, we've learned this the hard way, is if you're removing flooring, you want to see a contingency in there for subfloor repair. It's great that the home is 20 years old and that subfloor will be pristine. We've learned this the hard way. That's not always true. And what you want to do, you as a homeowner, you want to see a contingency in there if you're replacing the floor for what might come when you remove that, the top layer of the floor off, what's under there. It is not always pristine, and often it is not pristine. So you'd love to see a contingency for that, because again, once that floor is ripped off, if you want a floor put back down, you have to fix the subfloor. You can't put new floor on what is a non-suitable subfloor. Again, you're stuck. So back to material, and I forgot about this one, but crown molding, decorative ends, mullions, decorative moldings, hoods, floating shelves. You go to any kitchen and bath website, you go to any remodeler does kitchens, and they're going to show you this beautiful kitchen that has all the crown molding and all the decorative moldings and mullions and glass and hoods and floating shelves. And you're going to look at this and you're going to go, oh, it's beautiful. And it is beautiful. Every one of those details adds on a substantial amount. We actually have a video that walks you through sort of kitchen A and kitchen B and how one kitchen is $15,000 and one kitchen is $23,000. And they are literally the exact same kitchen other than what is inside of the cabinetry, right? And that's how much these details add on. So as you start to buy crown and decorative molding and furniture base, and you want to wrap your island in deco panels and so on and so forth, you're adding on a ton of money. And most kitchen and bath companies, they don't start with, here's the most beautiful kitchen I can make you. They start with, here's the kitchen you said your budget would allow. So know that you're probably not going to see a ton of that. And then anytime you get into custom paint colors, so if you walk in and you go, I want this blue, absolutely. Everyone will go, we can get you that blue. They often leave off it's an additional 20% if you want to get that blue. So anyhow, I can go on and on about gotchas or sort of ways that customer is a little bit vulnerable to pricing mistakes or proposal mistakes, or sort of misled by what we put out as pretty kitchens, and what we make people think is just so doable is actually pretty expensive. So anyhow, guys, I hope this video is very useful. Thank you so much. Again, if you guys have any questions, any thoughts, any comments, you're doing a remodel and you don't like what's happening, give us a call. We're happy to provide any advice, any guidance, any insight that we can. Thanks so much, guys.